Things are exciting. The desk. You know when they're breaking down the pink ponies and Martin's eyes are glazing over? They'd hit a rough patch. But we are going to have a good game to start with because Miramar, as I said, there's not too many games to be played here, right? This is going to be those kind of, you've got to deliver on the day, and some teams will do better than others at this, I feel. And already those leaderboards, Rich, they're a little bit unique, and I wonder if they're going to last. I was surprised that the desk was saying that they feel as though it's going to be somewhat similar today because as it stands, if I'm not mistaken, it's what, Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, and DA, and then Omicron towards the top, right? So
Yep.
that's the thing is I wouldn't be surprised at the end if some of those teams are still involved. I just don't see that being a consistent factor, especially when you have the likes of Liquid in ninth, FaZe in 13th, TSM 12th. I feel as though surely there's room there.
I suppose it all goes how this game number one all kicks off. I mean, when you look at the flight path that starts us off, starting over Impala, northeast, and we go towards northwest, there isn't a great deal of room to be taking more southerly swings and more southerly, approaches. If you want to go down, you want to loot there, you're going to be quite close together and very, very close proximity. I mean, we've already got a fight straight off his hands, to be honest with you, and I expect this across the board. There won't be, as we saw yesterday, the hot drop come in. Oh, we didn't at first, but we did catch it in the end. Don't worry, it all got there and we got through it. But with Smash being so close to beam it, it all depends who sees it one another first. Clearly, the information's there, and the guns most certainly are in the favour of Beamy, I would say, with the barrel up against the SMG. But it comes down to what kind of gear are you wearing. He does have a chest.
And it does help that Beamy is currently, if again not mistaken, one of the top fraggers, sitting up towards 9 kills with Clib and Page. And keep in mind as well, Liquid's 21 points, 9 of those coming from Clib. So having a fragger like that still standing and doing well is going to help, and Beamy is up there with him. This time, instantly put down, Smash with a quick little peek out with that UMP doing just fine. And luckily for him, getting that drop on the shot almost, getting that first shot to come through, because he didn't have a vest, a helmet, or anything. So if any of those bullets came towards him, that barrel was going to just tear him to pieces. So well played by Smash just to catch enough of an angle on Beamy to take him down.
Nice bit of a laser beam and its job done. You can see him as well. There a small adjustment to take a peek and see if anyone's going to try and follow that one up and maybe try and get revenge, but it's not to be for now. Flaming in the distance, cycling whatever he's got on him. I mean, K98, you got to ask at this point, is there any scopes on it? I saw the grenade being cycled. All right, the M4's there as well, so we do have some sort of a defensive stance if you want to go toe-to-toe with him. The map itself, given the flight path, it becomes a little bit more difficult for certain teams, especially more towards the southern side of the circle, with the circle hitting towards the north. You do get that pocket more towards the eastern side of this map. I mean, hell, I look at this circle and it just crests the edge of it from Shift W, Ents, Etiquette, Pink Pony, all the way down Team Liquid, and then 3 teams that are locked out behind them in the south that have yet to make an entrance point. They need to find their way forward, and they need to hope that teams in front of them do magnetize towards the middle. Should they do that, it makes it a little bit easier, because at the moment, with how many teams are actually playing border control, this is going to be much more difficult. FaZe, adjustment for them, obviously from Mountain Nueva, where you would sometimes see them more on that western side. They're up in the north this time. Plenty of room, plenty of ground to play with. They get the first pick of the bunch, whether they go more centralized on the circle, or they just kind of hover around up north, take a big amount of land, and go on a spread. They can put players individually and just kind of take what they want, really. Again, there's always that trade-off where you might come up against an enemy team, unfortunately, then you find yourselves in an unwinnable scenario just because of manpower, but yeah, this will be an interesting one, mainly from rotations down south.
Okay. I do want to see how this fares for Liquid, especially considering they didn't have a great day one, excluding Clib. Clib's just fine. Clib's a fragger. I always feel like he's going to be okay, but placement-wise, it wasn't ideal. I think everyone can see that. But with that circle, as you highlighted, being northern, those rotation routes can be a little bit trickier. For them, if they get past maybe Northern Lights cleanly, they don't lose anyone on rotation, we could see a good game out of Liquid, but we'll have to wait and see. For now, though, FaZe is going to be sitting in prime territory up here. Na'Vi always seem to do well from these circles as well, as they are going to be coming in on that longer swing, probably heading all the way up, potentially Oasis coming into a possibility. And God, if I got an Oasis ending, that would make me so pleased. But I won't get ahead of myself. It is going to be that southern side, you're right. So let's look at who the other teams are there. Omicron, one of them, heading on the eastern coast. Now, I do see Shift W, which does draw my attention. These guys will hang around. You know, roll your mind back many a year now. They used to play that edge game like champs. So, I mean, I'd be a little scared of that. Now, bear in mind, Ents will be the one to run that gauntlet first, though.
They're not afraid to do things like that in that sense. I mean, it's obviously a different map, but perpendicular to where they actually loot down outside the fields and Impala, then move the way up. It's not unknown territory, but as you say, they will have that information as much as we do. That Shift W held since the Germans back on G2 used to run this area as their own. They used to loot up here. They used to be playing blockades on it. Whether or not they leave someone back to check for those rotations is a different question altogether. I can see Brickscore is on the main road, just taking a bit of a check-in to see if anyone does want to try and get the rotate in from LSR. It is clear for now. They could go up the top side of Cruz de Val if they really wanted to, but I can see actually Chris is going much deeper. It could be dangerous because he is now toe-to-toe with FaZe Clan in the back. So that is something we will have to see unfold. Even if he just knocks one down from FaZe, it's damage done amongst the ranks. Redline, TSM, Tornado Energy, they've all centralized. TSM is by water treatment. In the middle, you've got Redline. Then up on just on the hillside, cresting that, you've got Tornado Energy. But then you can even throw WS into mix as well. Smash onto the bystanders once again. The warning shots are there, and Yellow and Yacht will continue onwards. No damage is done this time. Sauna Boys all the way on the west. They'll be coming in behind Tornado Energy. And then the long rotators that you just saw on screen. DA, bystanders, and just in front of them, Pink Pony. They're probably the last ones towards the circle. Navi have started their rotate as well, opting to stick on the outskirts. But as you mentioned, Lauren, we really won't expect anything less. They're not that team just to centralize up after circle number one and kind of stay their feet.
Yeah, now I want to look at who's in the kind of god compounds for this circle. As it stands, if we look at water treatment, my mind goes either surrounding it, which would be kind of your phase area. They have a very strong compound. Shift W also looking towards that. TSM on the road itself, but it's Redline. Redline, the team that has a very strong position. Same with Tornado Energy. Any of these teams around this plateau area that kind of almost opposite to water treatment can be very strong. Now, if this does hard shift, yeah, that's when, you know, it gets a little funky. But we'll see if that comes through. You can see a couple of teams hoping for a hard shift potentially, the likes of maybe DA, Bystanders, Pink Ponies, Omicron, Ents, you know, those on the extremities, even Na'Vi. The amount of times we've seen this go towards the west, it's not unheard of, it's not unknown, but we know the tendency and the likelihood is that water treatment does get, you know, a couple of circles its way. For now, though, I want to see if TSM, Liquid, if there's any posturing, any knocks early, because you'd love to see a late game with all of those big teams alive who can play those final circles just so well. And so, meticulous in approach, being very, very cautious. And we've had Ents have a couple of good games up in the north. Roll your mind back to, again, that Mad Mountain finish we had that we hadn't seen before. Ents did quite well in that. Same with Na'Vi, of course, who do drop very close by. So for some of these teams, they could definitely do with a couple more points. Na'Vi, again, yesterday didn't have the best of times. They were, you know, losing a couple of players early, a little slower than they'd like. And then the polar side is these two, Tornado Energy and Northern Lights. Northern Lights had a question mark around them coming into this tournament, at least for me, as we've seen the high point. But, okay, well, does it continue? Do we see that consistency that we put as the biggest trophy next to good teams? And actually, yesterday, we did see a bit of that. So if that's a good signal, we're in for a great time. I would say for Tornado Energy, keep in mind, they had some high kill games. Now, whether that can be replicated day by day, hey, that's the other thing. A couple of teams can do it for sure. And when Tornado Energy are on, they absolutely can.
I think it's good that the Northern Lights managed to kind of just do it on 3 games, if you will. You know, they had a 15th placement at one point with 0 kills. So you're up at the top there with 2 wins, and you've only really got anything from 3 games going. So to be number 1 really does kind of set a tone and set a precedence. Now, this is an interesting circle. It becomes a little bit more predictable for teams. I was saying that central area was the focal point for all these rosters looking at it, because you do have that hillside more towards the west, where it will eventually push from the fields. It moves out of the crater fields. It moves out of the crater edge, where Na'Vi will be working their way around. It doesn't actually go inside it, so it'll probably more than likely now go towards the top side of that between their position and La Cobareria. It's, yeah, it's one of those where everyone's kind of thinking, all right, it's going to go central, we want to be in this position. That's all for a second, Lauren, because RV, taking early residency, managed to pick up a frag by keeping this one their own.
You're right, and they're in a bit of a split. Now, I don't always associate Na'Vi with that sort of positioning, so maybe this is just how they're kind of currently standing, as they were closer towards the extremity than the center, but now, obviously, as the hard shift came in, they will take residency in a more centralized area. So Senya and Tab staying as a bit of a duo there. Orange and Besto slightly further south, just on the cusp of those craters. And you're going to have the Sauna Boys close by. We already saw the casualty coming out from WS. Now, everyone else This is Liquid and DA in a very weird spot. DA just turning up as Liquid are leaving. This is very strange, and this could be the downfall of Liquid. Maybe not expecting this, and I don't... Wait, Clip just turned that around. Oh, you gotta feel bad. You gotta be feeling bad. DA's just turned up and like, oh, this is perfect. They had no idea. And then suddenly Clip goes, there's a reason I'm at the top of the scoreboard, boys. There's a good goddamn reason. So now, DA gonna have to pick up the pieces. Mexi and Jeems are a little stuck, though. So you've got Clip and Ibby on the ground, and these two are gonna just have to hold position. Nade's gonna come through. Mert's in no man's land, not recoverable for a good long while. He's just gonna be out here. That smoke might keep him safe. Smash a little further forward, but I want to look at the angles that maybe Clip can get. Yeah, so if Smash falls back, very open, but these aren't easy shots with a barrel. That thing bounces. Nice little nade, though. You can see the damage trickling through.
You spoke about recovery, Lauren, and this is exactly what it's going to be for Liquid if they solidify this one. To be able to turn around, turn and face this, and take this fight head-on is phenomenal work. Now, remember, they had the first player knocked on their side. They turn, they get the resuscitation off, and now they're back on the offensive. With two players being able to flank through the garage, they've knocked out two. They know they're going to be going for the heals. They can't afford to lose more. We're losing Mert. They know they're down to 3, so they're counting the numbers here. They know exactly who's in a really bad position, who's going to be out, and who's going to be potentially down at this moment in time. It's their turn to strike. They have the advantage. There's 3 of them all together. Even if one of them knocks at this point, they can just go for the overpeak and get the return frag.
Trellius still alive. I want to keep my eyes on this man. Code Marco. I haven't seen him shine yet within this DA roster, but we know how good he was prior to that point. So I really want to see him come together with this and find that chemistry and the comfort to be able to maybe pop off a little more. But Jeems being up on top, a little dangerous, considering the angles will be at least initially favorable towards DA. The return fire could be quite good for Liquid. But the sad fact for Liquid is they wanted to leave this. They wanted to move on, but now they're going to have to take this fight, and it's going to be quite tricky to clear. Look how many obstacles and objects are in the way, but it's a quick shot from Clib. It's so good from Clib. That man is a monster. 2 huge kills, and he didn't have the advantage on either of them. Code Marco is looking rough in all kinds of ways. A tag from Tornado Energy, God knows where that just came from. But for now, I'm pretty sure Jeems just heard that, and he's calling the cavalry over. They're going to swarm this.
That's about a 900-meter shot in the distance. They're up on the edge of the crater. So to be able to tag that, you spoke about Liquid staying stationary and wanting to get away from this. That's the disadvantage. They're more than likely going to clean this fight absolutely spot on. They don't lose anybody, but it's slowed them down. It's put them out of position. It's put them out of place. They're on the edge of the circle now, and people are making note of their position. Red line on the rotate. They do lose one in transition. It's rather unfortunate. We said eventually it could get a bit sketchy with how the position of this playing path was. Red line, I believe, have lost 2. QB there, at least full HP. Ivers down, but not out. They will be able to at least take these shacks, so it's something, but you do have plenty of teams lingering and lurking in the distance. Navi's still sitting comfortably, but it is a 2-2 split, so they are separated should teams want to pressure them. Tornado Energy, again, still in that ridge area, kind of where I spoke about, where you see the bevel at the outside of the crater. It is only one man, I suppose, when you see the rest of them that down low. If they can finish ETG, maybe they can just leave Alia up there to keep track on what's going on. More importantly, keep a track of Liquid, because he knows they're there. ETG out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, moving on towards TSM. Not really anywhere else they can go. If they disengage from this one, they'll run into TE or red line. So they have to try and tackle this one head on. But the question is, does TSM note their position? Do they have the information? I'd suggest if there was a vehicle close, they would.
They seem very aware. Now, I don't know about TSM on the other side. Looks like Vard's keeping track of this as well. Slightly disconnected from the compound itself, but not by a long shot. You can see a 2-2 for ETG as they try to maybe mount their approach, but you see Vard trying to watch the extremity, just that corner, so if they do silhouette on the way around, he should be able to have the advantage on it. But there's the first bit of contact going to come through, and it's a good nade. It does find a tag, and it's going to force Vard slightly further away. Careful on the cross there, Vard. Could have been open, but it's Iroh to receive most of the attention, and he's stuck here. I don't think he can really get out from this. No, he can't. Forever's gone and found him, and TSM looking a little worse for wear. Going to depend on someone like Fex here to dig him out of a bit of a tricky spot. Vard and Miraku further back, but Fex has fallen, and suddenly TSM looking in a very bad spot.
They don't want to get inside because there were some bullets coming from the distance too. Nades will continue in to try and push this one out. Vard's still looking for the 2 that aren't inside the compound, and his job is to try and keep them at bay. Let what's left of the team try and do some work. Miraku's there at least to support him, but you can still see that tracer fire coming in, and that's why we'll probably just fall back ever so slightly. Vard could do with a banger of a nade here. Doesn't find a target just yet. Vard clearly made note that there is two still to get involved in this fight. If he didn't know before, he definitely does now. Thunderlost can push onto this one. If they know they're separated, they use the advantage, they use the time properly. The nade has been pulled, the pin's out. Will it find the target? No, it does not. They're getting aggressive. They want to get involved here. If they can wipe out TSM, this is a beautiful little push.
Certainly could be. Still have to dig these players out of positions, but they're isolated, hard to trade on, and hard to make anything happen beyond those 1v1 fights, which, hey, they can work. But Batulin's just found Ibby. Nice quick shot from Vard. That's the man TSM fans were waiting to see. They paid premium price for this. They're getting a damn good show, but there are still threats aplenty, and TSM now operating with less, but they want to try and take this momentum forward, and Vard's going to lead that way and take down the final member. Big turnaround for TSM, staying alive and getting a couple of points in the pocket, but they've suffered casualty for this. Now, they do keep not even a particularly relevant compound, but you saw Liquid in a bit of a fight with Northern Lights. Now, that's a scary one, as this rotation route for Liquid's pretty treacherous. Same for Northern Lights. They don't have the easiest way forward, and a crash comes in. It's Tornado Energy towards Redline. Redline took a fair beating on the way to these rather dilapidated shacks. Not exactly the prime territory here, but it will do. Ivar's going to try and get himself a couple more bullets to play with. Takes the fight and takes, well, an awkward exchange. A little bit too close for comfort as Tornado Energy going to sweep through.
They did remove him. They do clear him out. They don't lose anyone while doing so. Getting back on his feet and it's job done. Another fantastic job from Vard, though, just to solidify that for TSM and keep them in the game. I know they lost 2 players, but what an absolute unit of a player. Northern Lights, it's time for them to move. They could take the dirt road side and maybe just linger here and posture for now and maybe even get the bearings. It's quite open unless Liquid wants to move up to the crater's edge. Orange is down. Let's make note of that. And if they do have the information, they could try and make something of it. Le Corbusier is getting extremely busy, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams now. All sitting residency. The problem is for me at this one, Lauren, like with this circle, the more it moves away from the city, the more difficult it is, because we know that we have that big, long back wall that kind of, well, you can see it on screen at the moment, that holds Le Corbusier in. He can very, very easily get boxed into this city if the circle is super unfavorable. It can still go anywhere at this point. It might even come to the city, which makes it all that much more difficult for all the teams that are down towards the south and have to basically just run that open road from the crater's edge. 50-50 and kind of on a knife's edge here. Pick your poison, set up shop, and get ready for what's about to come. It's still the northern edge that's going to be extremely busy as TSM are going for that really long rotate. I'm wondering, do Na'Vi realize Liquid slowly working their way up here? Because if they do not, they are going to get the biggest shock of their life.
I'd like to throw into the fact that Tornado Energy have just pulled up on the ridgeline as well. They've purposely done this. 2 of them just split off. It's Alia and I think it was Melman who just split from the other 2. So Na'Vi are probably going to put more attention towards them, which could open up a big opportunity for Liquid. Because as you said, they have no idea that Liquid are here. They timed it just so right. When I think Orange got knocked, they moved up in the shadow of the hill. They've made a perfect approach as Jeems is right there. They're going to spot out one, but Besto's still unknown, at least to Jeems. Maybe the others have spotted him. Even hearing this, yeah, for sure hearing this and seeing this. Jeems would have loved to have had that quicker, but Clib's got the off angle. Gonna get another quick flush too. This is nice, but this will alert the others. Now everyone's gonna be looking their way. Orange is in all kinds of trouble. Knocked down. Jeems on the claim, can't get the flush, but now Tornado Energy becomes Liquid's problem.
Ali has been up here for quite some time, so should have been able to pass all this info back. You saw earlier on with the 3 that have gone down towards the shacks, they have split one, sent them back for the 2-2, split their resources and try and garner more information. Miracle going down, so there's Wanderer as well. Shift W just fighting tooth and nail to be able to get inside of this circle. Now it has moved to very open and barren area, so we would assume at this point that it's going to pull away from the city, which basically just puts us in dead water, to be fair. Liquid could potentially be the kings of the mountains, quite literally, with that last scrape of shelter in front of them. The bystanders are making an unorthodox move here. You can see Flamey is just running towards some ditches. He does have a vehicle, so he can box it up there, and it actually just might kind of stake a claim for his teammates to be able to roll into. My only problem with that is that the Northern Lights, if they have utility, at this point, they can just bombard people, just launch it down and find your target. But the northern side of this, it's going to be extremely dangerous. It's going to be extremely deadly. We've got so many teams and so little room to house all of them.
Okay. Let's kind of look at the two sides of the coin. We've got teams playing for what I would say is superior positioning late game, which will probably be that hillside. If you've already got it, you're going to stay there, right? So you've got a couple of them kind of peacocking around trying to control it. The Northeast is a similar thing, Shift W, Navi, the Sauna Boys, WS. But the city fight is what's going to keep me a little interested for a couple, maybe a minute or so here, just to see how they get away from this, because the Pink Ponies have found a way across the road, but yet to get in. Currently, Ents kind of control the edge of that circle. Phase slightly deeper, and Omicron with a more northern touch to it. Now this is on the other side of the town, just on the outskirts, running up the hill. The Sauna Boys have actually gotten to this position and managed to be, I don't want to say safe here, but they have the potential to get a clean fight against Chris, which is something you don't often have. Shift W normally have that really nice split. They have those kind of like unique 1-1s that somehow work, and it's mostly off the back of individuals. And this is exactly what I mean. The likes of Kilyakai, Chris coming up with the goods, but they are suffering on the other side. Rexico's gone down. It's dangerous way to play the game, but the Blues on the back of the opponents. The Sauna Boys feeling worse for wear and having to move as they go. Now with WS coming in again, Kemba finding Anonymous. This is all going quite well for now, and Shift W still maintain the line. Kilyakai wants more and gets more. The Finns are found and put down. Now we've got to look further afield. This looks like the Wanderer's going to try and shuffle in if he can. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it. No. Can't quite get away from Zocker's eyesight. So that does mean the northeast side will be Shift W's and Navi's. The south, a little bit more, sorted, but it's the city, Rich. This could go off any second.
I think it's starting to begin, with Pink Pony going to be camping outside Enz's territory. It's only Diggory, excuse me, last man standing. This Nate could find two of them if he gets the knock, but one of them's at the windows and he has to be very careful. Door open, welcome, thank you very much. The shot and response is back though, very little. Oh, nice dip down, and also an instant spray with the mini, but it doesn't quite get it. What a damn good effort though. Valiant attempt. 11th place will be Enz's position. FaZe is starting to move. Now, they don't want to get involved in this too early. They just want to get as much information as possible. They're locking down the alleyway. Yes, it is a bit of a bottleneck if a team does want to kind of walk this way around. They can use the wall in the buildings. There are doors there too. Blue, smokes are up. And again, bystanders going a little bit early and sending one player out to be the sniffer dog has paid off and really paid its dividends. They've taken the most solidest dip, to be honest with you. Again, if Northern Lights do have utility, they can just throw it in there and clear them out, but it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, to be fair. You'd have to assume at this point that Northern Lights wouldn't be going towards the city and they'd try and take this sideline. Utility is cycled now in the hands of all the players on the side of bystanders for all but a moment. Whether they've been thrown is a different question altogether. Na'Vi on the offensive onto Tornado Energy. IDD onto Kilyakai as well, so all the fights are beginning to unfold as the teams towards the north try and worm their way through this city. Tornado Energy have to clean out Na'Vi. This is the last. It's not even inside the circle, but certainly it's an obstacle that they have to get through first before they try and get to the circle cleanly. 3 players would do it, but still with Senya in a very isolated position, it does have a small height advantage. The tab, Bert Nade. Not landing onto him. Tries to get one off on the corners with the smoke coming back. It gives them something to walk into, or maybe even just an obstacle that can use for bait. If Senya's been drawn out by this and thinks that they're running towards his right-hand side, maybe he opts to go there. They put him out of position, sweep round on the tab, and it's job done. Clip goes down to the blue, rather unfortunate. That's a big fragger. Going out for Team Liquid. Senya does fall, and it comes down for the tab to hold the line.
Okay. There he goes. It felt there was a time limit on that, and I was waiting for it to hit, and Alia finds it just right. Na'Vi go down, and the 2-2 split is finally eliminated with the aggression from Tornado Energy. They do claim the East, and now we've got to look at what remains in the circle. Northern Lights got kind of caught on the way in. They had to make a mad dash for it, and the split and the portion that worked was the one towards the kind of city wall that holds somewhat of the city safe. You've got FaZe in here, the Pink Ponies, Omicron, the remainder of TSM. Towards the south, bystanders Shift W, a bit of Northern Lights, a little bit of Liquid, and Tornado Energy in the east. But look how close FaZe are here. They have 3 standing, no kills. Gemty is just on the other side. Contact's already being made, but he wants to keep that surprise element, and it's shifted away. This is huge now. All these teams in the city are about to be disrupted. Already Example getting himself in the kill feed, though, finding Yellow kind of across the playable area currently. And, well, that means problems for bystanders. They were quite safe up there, more towards the southern side on the higher end of the ridge, but already spotted. They can't do much more with it. But the city can only go so many ways. And for now, it looks like Omicron with Gemty in the position he's in You'd argue he's the best bet to keep this circle safe. If it was going to turn into a bloodbath, there's no clean way out of here. So already Pink Pony's maybe looking for that fight, looking for a couple of points on the way through, because this is going to be brutal, Rich.
This circle's just murdered over half the server. Like, where do you go? If you're in that city, you try and run the wall. You get to the end of it, you've got FaZe Clan and Omicron that are going to be fighting over basically the final scraps of it. For everyone else, if you want to try and run in the open, Bystanders, Tornado Energy, Shift W, they're all waiting. Position was noted earlier on from FaZe Clan. A different member spotted out Gempty and fed that back to Whitesea. Finally, his position will be noted. The smokes will go down, which gives them some sort of element to use to their advantage.
They've just made a
Honestly, I
death
think
funnel.
Omicron can just... yeah, I think Omicron can just literally strangulate them full space. 2-for-1 nade comes in, gets in while it looks potentially like it was on the res. Northern Lights are actually outside of this wall. Let's not forget they can't get in because of where the blue is. They will potentially die on transition. That car has flipped. Maybe they were trying to bring it up against the wall for a little bit of cover. Yeah, I think everyone's strangulated. This circle has just been an absolute brutal killer.
Gempty just needs to stay alive, right? He is the anchor point to this. He needs everyone else to die around him, and your teammates do everything you can to keep Gempty alive. Paige has already fallen, and FaZe are good at these scenarios, and that's what scares me. There is only 3 of them, and the smokes are rife. You can barely see anything. The thick smog of the city keeping everyone from having vision at all. Northern Lights with a quick mad play. They've got to try and make something happen, and none of it works. Liquid just got battered, as did FaZe. This is great work from Omicron. Somehow, keeping all their players in the right places. They're still cautious. They're still scared of another creature appearing from the smoke. But they did it. They did what they needed to. And now with 3 alive, the res going to come back up. They get in towards the final circle. Now look at this. We have 5 teams and 11 players. Scraps left over. Northern Lights with 2. Omicron with 3. Shift W with 1. Bystanders 2. Look at this from Vazku. Beautiful work. Really nice close quarter play here. But then Tornado Energy are being the biggest boys in this circle. High ground on their side and confidence beside them. Keep in mind they've got some big fraggers here too. Ali's been having a tournament so far, so if he keeps going, this is going to be dangerous for everyone else.
Molly down, scored its target as well. And the wandering around, it's whoever can pick up the final point. Will be Bystanders. So, Tornado Energy 3, Omicron 3, Bystanders 2, Northern Lights 1. Lou could probably be a bit of a daredevil here and do some danger to Omicron. They've been provided a gift by the circle being in their favor at this side of the city. They just need one good nade to clear him out, and then they can advance forward. Or they just need Alia to do them a favor and be able to remove him from that position. Now he's gone, there is something to move. There is some sign of life, but it's not going to happen. I mean, for so long, Lauren, Tornado Energy have just been up in the hillside. It's just been so fruitful them that the kills, the frags, it's all theirs.
They had to crush Na'Vi. They've had to play against a couple of pretty hard teams to fight against, and they've done well. And it's got them to this position, and they have all the cards. This would take something very surprising or something very individually above the standard to see it go against Tornado Energy right here. With 14 kills, probably make it 15 pretty soon. These guys are on for a belting first game, and we saw this before. These guys were leading the way on kills. They were looking great, and look at these shots. Omicron were one of the teams against them that had a similar performance. They had a couple of outstanding plays, and already Omicron are gone. Now down to just 2, the Bystanders, with 2 remaining. Flammy Short trying to get close to Tornado Energy, but these guys have so much momentum beside them. Example's going to try and get involved early on, and he's going to just shred them limb from limb. Nothing to be done, nothing more to be seen. This one's over. Tornado Energy with a commanding game. 16 kills in the first place, Rich. That is above and beyond what I'd expect from most teams here.
That is phenomenal.